add to Jupiter, or go siphon stuff out of the sun and add it to Jupiter.
Well, that's a dumb idea.
Well, if we have the means to do that, then we can do pretty much anything. We don't need to waste our time trying to create a star out of Jupiter. I mean, we could essentially build ourselves a giant, like, orbiting tiki torch. And use that. Yeah. We don't need to turn Jupiter into a star.
I am from planet Tiki Torch.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think it's when we get to the point where we had the technical wherewithal to turn Jupiter into a sun, and I hope we do reach that point someday. We probably won't do it, but it'll be great because having that kind of technical wherewithal means that you can do some pretty fantastic things.
Yeah.
Because, moving that much mass from outside our solar system to Jupiter, that would be quite a huge achievement.
Yeah, I mean, but that's in the same frame of reference of if what we need is energy to change these particular planets to do stuff, then why don't we do, the Dyson sphere? So we're capturing all of the power of the sun,
sure,
channeling it somewhere. Yeah. That seems just as much of an effort as lighting a gas giant on fire.
Yeah, it probably makes more sense. There's a lot of things that would make more sense than turning Jupiter into a sun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody, either of you, I think we've walked through most of this. You got anything else?
No.
You're kind of spaced out, I see. Did it again. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up.
Another mystery solved. Yeah, you don't need to worry about that second sun.
Yeah, a couple of little bits of normal show information here, which is we do have the website. Website is thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. On the website, you're going to be able to listen to this and all past episodes. We'll have some links to some of our research. On the website, we've got the episode list, so that is a page that shows you all episodes that we've done in the past, so it's a little easier to comb through than some of the players. We also have merchandise available on the site, so we have shirts and mugs and all those kind of things. I know we just got a fresh batch of shirts in, and they're pretty cool.
They're nice, sexy as hell.
Yeah. Okay, so if you are listening to this, you are probably listening to this through a number of different apps. You could be listening on iTunes or the iTunes podcast app, which streams. So whether you're downloading or streaming, you do have the ability through Apple to rate and review. Please do so. We appreciate that. Helps other people find us. If you're on any of the other streaming apps, so Google Play or Stitcher or whatever it is, if you're able to rate and review through those, please do. I know there's a whole bunch of them out there, so it's hard to know. They're all a little different. We are available on social media, so we've got Twitter, so that is Thinkin' Sideways without the G in the middle. We have a Reddit account, so we've got I always screw Reddit
subreddit.
Thank you. It's the subreddit where there's episode discussions and recaps in there. And then we're also on Facebook with the Facebook page and the Facebook group. So like the page, join the group. Lots of really chill, cool people. We talk about episodes. We talk about a whole slew of stuff, but it's good times all the way around.
Yeah, that's good though.
Last but not least is you can get a hold of us by email. So if you send us an email at thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. So you got a question, you got an episode suggestion, you got anything else you want to chat with us, go ahead.
You are Jupiter.
Yeah, if you are Jupiter and you feel bad about us talking about your size, send us an email. We will respond to all emails. It does take us some time these days. We're always trying to keep up on them, but there's a lot of them coming in.
You never know. Might be, but don't be shy about sending them.
Don't not send an email because of that. We will reply. All right. Well, that is all that I have here. So I guess that we will just wrap this one up.
All right. Toodaloo, everybody.
Space.
Balls.
The frontier.
Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by the Miskatonic University Water Polo Team Go Fighting Cephalopods! Instead, it's brought to you by your local animal shelter. Then you need to go down to your local animal shelter. Lots of puppies and kittens and adult cats and dogs who are looking for homes. And already got enough critters? Well, then great. You can still help out by volunteering or donating to that local organization. So look up who it is that's around you and take the time to help out.
Thinking Sideways.
I don't get it.
I brought the aliens.
You must unlearn what you have learned. I don't know.
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I am Devin, joined as always by
Joe.
And
Steve.
Hi.
this week we're going to talk about a mystery that I thought was an internet mystery at first, but it's not. It's actually like a puzzle mystery.
Sort of an internet mystery in a
Kind of
way.
an internet mystery.
Starts out that way.
It's a start out internet mystery. It was suggested by Jack and Simon, and maybe some other people. But I think it was just Jack and Simon. And it is called the Publius Enigma.
Publius.
Ooh.
Publius.
Publius.
All right, you guys argue about that. By the way, Enigma is pronounced enema.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
No.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
G is not silent.
And I'm just going to say that at the night of recording this, so 3 weeks ago when you guys are listening to this, I tweeted that this was one of the most grueling research processes that I had ever had. And
that
everyone
doesn't mean
was
she works hard.
so
works hard.
excited because I think everybody meant that, or thought that meant that it had just, been doing it for years and it had been so deep and hard-hitting.
Long
But no,
and drawn
it was
out.
just really painful. So great. You guys ready to listen to my pain and suffering?
Yeah,
Okay. So this mystery is actually, it's kind of an internet mystery, but it's mostly a Pink Floyd mystery.
So it's a music mystery.
Kind of.
Yeah, Pink
Yeah.
Floyd.
Music
Yeah.
fan mystery.
Yeah.
So who was this guy, Pink Floyd? I'm sure our listeners want to know.
No. Pink Floyd is a band, not a person.
Yeah.
And the mystery why we think it is kind of an internet mystery, why you keep going back and forth, is it actually originated on a Usenet forum.
Back in the 90s.
You guys remember Usenet?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
The basic of basic internet boards.
Yeah. You can still find this forum on Google because, as mentioned in the last episode that we talked about Usenet, you may or may not have listened to that episode, but Usenet kind of merged into Google Forums, so most of them still exist in this world today.
So when I see them on Google, then am I looking at stuff that's been sort of
Migrated over.
migrated over from?
Yeah,
Okay.
and archived, exactly. But although you may have noticed that in some of those that I linked, the updates were as recent as a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as though they're dead.
Yeah, one of the ones that you linked to actually was updated just this morning.
Yeah, exactly. So it's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
This whole mystery began with a cryptic message posted by a user identifying him or herself only as Publius, which I keep wanting to say Polybius, but it's not.
That's a different mystery.
It's a different mystery. This post was made to the unmoderated news group alt.music.pink-floyd. Publius proposed a riddle in connection with the 1994 Pink Floyd album, The Division Bell. Y'all didn't know that Pink Floyd released something in the 90s, did ya?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
It didn't end after the wall?
No.
Oh.
Mm-mm. So the post basically promised that an answer to this puzzle would lead to a reward. And to this day, which is 23 years later, it remains unclear if the quote-unquote enigma involves a genuinely solvable puzzle or it's part of an early kind of internet-based contest or a hoax or something else entirely.
Or just not necessarily a hoax, but just not solvable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So this whole thing kind of, it was primed, I would say, by how Columbia Records promoted the Pink Floyd Division Bell tour in America. And that was in 1994, so the same year as the album released. So Columbia Records, who is the record label, flew a giant Zeppelin that they called the Division Bell.
I love it.
Bell.
Yeah, little play on words
With an
there.
E.
With an E at the end, yeah. They flew the Division Bell, this Zeppelin, that was 194 feet long, which is 59 meters.
I want one.
They flew it between concert locations. So they would start in, where the last concert had happened and then fly it to the next city where the concert was.
And they hit, 2 or 3 dozen cities
Yeah, it was a
in
big
this
tour.
country?
It was a pretty sizable
I
tour.
saw with the map of all of the concert locations across the world, and they they went everywhere on that tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hey, party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
In conjunction with this, Columbia Records did release a electronic press kit, which are totally ubiquitous now, but in those times it was kind of
Kind of like,
newfangled
whoa,
things.
edgy. Yeah.
And it included things like promo spots that had interviews with band members, footage of the airship in action, and a segment that included the following little snippet. Quote, "A spokesperson for Pink Floyd has issued the following statement. You have spotted the Pink Floyd airship. Do not be alarmed. Pink Floyd have sent their airship to North America to deliver a message. The Pink Floyd airship is headed towards a destination where all will be explained upon arrival. Pink Floyd will communicate." Unquote.
What
That-
do it mean?
That kind of made people think there might be something else going on with this tour or the album as a whole. So when Publius showed up on the Usenet forums, people were already a little inclined to believe that there was maybe something more going on here, just given that official statement from Columbia Records. Great.
So everybody's anticipating an Easter egg.
Of some
essentially.
sort, or, even just additional press kit information, even just something little.
Yeah.
But what happens is Publius on June 11th, 1994, posts a message called The Message onto that forum, the alt.music.pinkfloyd, that says, Joe, can you read it?
Sure. My friends, you have heard the message Pink Floyd has delivered, but have you listened? Perhaps I could be your guide, but I will not solve the enigma for you. All of you must open your minds and communicate with each other, as this is the only way the answers can be revealed. I may help you, but only if obstacles arise. Listen, read, think, communicate. If I don't promise you the answers, would you go? Publius.
Cryptic.
A little, yeah, super cryptic, and especially when
some
taken...
might say meaningless.
Well, some might say that, yes, but some might say super meaningful, particularly when taken with the original release, right? This message where this airship is headed towards a destination where all
the
will be
press kit,
explained. Yeah. So that kind of spawned a lot of responses, people saying, like, okay, dude, like, what's going on here? Like, really? And so there was a clarification post, and I can read this one.
Ah,
So Joe doesn't have to read all of them.
I know, really, it's hard.
Yeah, I know. Reading is hard.
It is.
So it said, as some of you have suspected, the Division Bell is not like its predecessors. Although all great music is subject to multiple interpretations, in this case there is a central purpose and a designed solution. For the ingenious person or group of persons who recognize this, and where this information points to, a unique prize has been secreted. How and where? The Division Bell. Listen again, look again, as your thoughts will steer you, leading the blind while I stared out the steel in your eyes. Lyrics, artwork, and music will take you there. So a lot of these are actually lyrics from the album, a lot of these phrases, but obviously that did pique interest. One thing I'm going to just pause here and say off the bat is that one of the really interesting things that was happening around this was many of these posts were reposted multiple times within seconds of each other with varying degrees of grammatical and spelling errors and just typographical errors, honestly. So you can look through all of the posts. I don't remember, to be honest, we have looked at so many different versions of these posts, if they're all still on the forum or if it's just people have the historic screenshots of what these looked like. I honestly can't remember. But either way, it's kind of interesting to see that a post was posted and then like 2 seconds later it was posted and none of the errors that occurred, in the first one were in the second one, and et cetera, and that happened multiple times.
Yeah,
Well, it's actually all of these posts.
If you get them as images and you're able to kind of, flip through them one by one right after the next, you can actually see the text change and shift as those little bits happen.
And you can see on the timestamp they're happening within seconds
Yeah,
of
they're
each
close.
other. They're really close. And again, I don't have enough familiarity necessarily with Usenet to know if you could go back and delete posts if you were rereading your thing and went, oh crap, I misspelled that word, or I put a weird comma there or something.
How to edit.
Yeah, had a weird format thing. I don't know if you could edit or even delete and repost, and I don't know how good the the system was at deleting posts in a timely fashion.
Listen,
or what.
it is a giant pain, even in Facebook sometimes, to edit stuff or to get it to delete properly.
Twitter,
Do that.
looking at you, Twitter.
Yeah.
Can't even edit.
Yeah.
Come
So,
on, man.
Something that's 20 plus years ago on the internet, it doesn't shock me that it wasn't
No.
user friendly to
Yeah.
edit or get rid of.
Totally,
Yeah, I think
totally.
you're probably
yeah.
correct.
So
Yeah.
that could be one explanation for all of these posts. And I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to read one more post, and then that's it, because there are a ton of posts. And if this...
It gets to be Yawnsville.
Yeah, well, already, you both are yawning already, which I'm really excited about.
Wow.
But
Not hot in here or anything.
I will say there are tons of really great. There are tons of analysis out there that go really, really in depth. And if this story is one that grabs you, I'm trying to make this a not 5-hour long episode. I will tell you, I watched a series of videos that was literally 7 hours worth of analysis by one person just talking into a mic. I don't want this episode to be that. So we're not going
God,
to do
no.
that.
No. God,
But if
no,
that
please.
sort of thing, if this does interest you, go out and watch that. And we'll link to some of it, or I'll just talk about it later. But there was one more post that I do want to talk about, because there was
Oh,
this.
this is the proof one?
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if it's proof or not, but it's an interesting thing that happened. So there was this outcry, right, of people just saying, hey, you're just a dumb internet troll. Obviously, you've no connection. You're just, pulling our leg. Prove it somehow. Just prove it. So this third post that we're going to read, Steve, do you want to read this one?
Sure. To validate the trust of those who believe, as well as to reconcile the doubt of others, I have gone to great lengths to plan the following display of communication. Monday, July 18th, East Rutherford, New Jersey, approximately 10:30 p.m., flashing white lights. There is an enigma. Trust.
And the crazy thing is this happened.
It did happen.
It actually happened, and it happened so happened that this footage from this particular live event is actually the footage they used in the archival. They always release a DVD of this is a live tour,
The
blah, blah, blah.
10-year
This is
mark or
part.
whatever,
This
yeah.
particular one concert is in that. So you can even pause the DVD and see, oh my gosh,
This
that
is
actually
Enigma.
happened.
Yeah.
And so what happened is the setup of the
Stage.
thank you. Pink Floyd, for those of you who aren't totally, you just have to kind of vaguely know about them. They were kind of one of the last vestiges of these crazy rock concerts that were kind of experiential more than anything
Laser
else.
light shows.
Laser light
and
shows.
Huge
Yeah.
instrumental.
Really, yeah, and Nine Inch
solos.
Nails
Yeah.
still does this, but in a Nine Inch Nails,
Oh,
but
Are
in
those guys, are they still
different.
around?
Yeah.
They're older, so they shrunk, so now they're only at 8-inch nails.
Their nails have been growing. They're 12-inch nails.
But they do, it's in a different, more artistic, less like flashbang way. But so the stage of this particular tour, the Division Bell, was they had this big kind of arch over the entire stage.
was a dome.
It was kind of like a dome.
half dome, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a half dome opening up, and it had white lights all over it. And then at the bottom of the stage, which was
Also an arc.
also an arc, yeah, it was kind of mirrored, were just panels of LED lights.
Well, it wasn't actually LEDs. I think it was probably just light bulbs.
I think they were actually LEDs.
I don't know
Not
if they
not
had
in
it.
1994 would they have been
Yeah.
using LEDs in that kind of show, Devin.
All right,
I
fair
doubt
enough.
it anyway. Yeah.
So it was light panels. So it's 4x4 panels with a bunch of little light bulbs in it, which I would call an LED, but you're right, it probably wasn't actually LED. So you could project, you could just do flashes of light, but you could also write designs on there or
Patterns.
words. And what happened is I don't remember what exact time it was almost exactly 10:30 p.m. on that night at that location. Across the bottom of the screen, it says, or the bottom of the stage, it says Enigma Publius. Right, and you can see, I printed a picture on it's there.
Well, and if you watch the footage of it, there's these really weird, what appear to be made-up characters strung in that light panel across
Yeah.
the bottom of the stage, and then all of a sudden, the intensity of some of them changes, and that's when they morph into
It,
actual
pulls
letters.
out. Yeah, so it is. It's almost like it's alien writing or
Yeah,
so it's not actual. I'm not claiming it's alien
Ancient
writing,
language
but
of
it's
some
something.
sort,
It's,
yes.
That's what it's kind of modeled after. It's,
I got to admit too, I stared at those weird hieroglyphics for a while and then lost patience and stopped the video before it actually flashed to an Enigma. But I
Which is
totally
You gotta
believe
learn
what
to
you're
scrub
saying.
forward, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. Yeah. But so it actually happened. And that to me is pretty crazy, although totally explainable under many of our theories. But I just think it's really interesting that actually happened.
Quick question for clarification is that obviously people were filming the Pink Floyd shows all the time when they were at them, and this didn't occur at any other show, correct?
It is my understanding that this was the only time that this happened.
That was mine too, and I just want to make sure.
And on top of that, just to reinforce the fact that not only was this the only time that happened, but this was the time that Pink Floyd put this performance on their DVD. Which means, at the very least, something they were at least aware of something happening.
Although, let's be honest, the lead members of that band did enjoy tweaking people a little bit.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
yes.
And it might have actually been just sheer randomness. That they might have actually listened to all the shows. And this is the one where we screwed up the least. And so that's going to be the official copy.
Or this is
Totally
the
fair.
only one that we had the official video from, because that happens too.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of reasons, like I said, totally explainable, but also at least a little interesting.
But we're not at the theories yet, so
No, we're not. No. Sorry,
unfortunately
guys.
we've got a little more to go.
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, we have more to go.
You mean awesome? We've
Yeah.
talked about this for 12 hours.
Oh, let's keep going.
As mentioned, there are a ton of other posts, and we'll link to at least one resource for you to be able to see all of those posts. Now, there's a zine. You guys know, you remember zines?
Oh, yeah.
Right? The 90s. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to do my NPR thing where they're like, Batman, for those of you who don't know, is a zine is like a magazine, but it's an independent,
Self-published a lot of times.
self-published, I was going to say self-published publication, usually really small, usually, its distribution is local. I used to see them at Powell's a lot, and it
Yep.
would be the sort of thing where literally, they were printed off at home and stapled and put, the person who was creating them would come in and say, like, I got 12 more copies of this issue. And Powell's employees would be like, okay, just put them over there, it's fine.
Yeah, the magazine rack.
Yeah.
By the old main entrance, yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's not, not to say that they were not of any value, but that is the kind of thing that they were. And this zine was called, maybe still is called, I found one publication that is still in, I guess, what you would call circulation. That's called Brain Damage.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's actually the same one anymore. I think it looks like it's just been around for the last
Just
couple
a
years.
spin-off from the original
Well, I don't think
zine.
it's even a spin-off. I think it's just somebody like
Or an
the
homage.
name. I don't know. It's like an anime drawing thing or something.
Oh, it's
like
completely
totally
different.
Yeah. So I don't think it's in any way related, but I also can't for 100% say that that's not what this morphed into, I guess.
Well, it's probably a common name for
Yeah.
novels and zines and everything else.
Yeah, so this zine was called Brain Damage, and it was a Pink Floyd fanzine that started in April of 1986. And there was an alleged correspondence component of it.
Yeah, like the letters to the editor.
Yeah, but the way it was sold was you would write to this character named Uncle Custard that...
As in the food? Custard?
Yeah, custard. Or, like the food. And it seems like fans, for some reason, thought that this was somebody who was either an actual member of Pink Floyd or had very close relations to Pink Floyd. But a lot of people point to the fact that Jeff Jensen, who was the editor of Brain Damage, editor and creator, the only person on staff, he never revealed the identity of Uncle Custard, so that meant that, to these fans, so that meant that this was a very credible source that was close to the band.
And not a completely made-up source.
I'm 99.9% sure it was actually just Jeff Jensen answering these letters himself.
Answering them or making stuff up wholesale, which,
Yeah, he could have been writing the questions and the answers as well.
That's what National Lampoon and Penthouse always did.
Totally, yeah. But you will see a lot of people say that this is a totally credible source close to you.
Well, a lot of people say it's
Floyd.
Nick Mason.
Yeah, a lot of people do say it's Nick Mason. And they say that because And I quote, Uncle Custard is phonetically similar to Ugly Car Stud,
Which
unquote.
is
Which was
because
his nickname,
Mason
right?
is such a fan, is such a car guy.
Yeah, he is a car guy. First of all, I take Uncle Custard and Ugly Car Stud. No.
They're close enough for me.
Second of all, do you think? No. I just there's lots of big problems with this, but fine, whatever.
It could have been too that of this whole circle of people, maybe they all contributed to it. Maybe they'll say, I had a great idea for a letter to the editor. I'm going to write the letter and the answer and then just give it to you and you can publish it.
Yeah, but I don't have the impression that there was actually any kind of even tangential relationship between the people at Brain Damage and the actual members of Pink Floyd.
Not really, none whatsoever.
I don't have that, but I'm sure that some listener will be able to tell me more about that.
Probably somebody knows.
Yeah, probably Uncle Custard himself.
You see.
So if you are Uncle Custard, please write us
Please write us. Yeah, you can just wait till the end of the episode to find out our email address. Anyway, this is what this very credible source had to say about this, and I'll just read both parts of this. Actually, no, I'm going to have Joe read the answer as Uncle Custard.
Okay.
But the question...
He does look like an Uncle
He kind of
Custard.
does, yeah.
Oh, what?
That's going to be your name from now on, I think.
Oh, I don't think so. I think call me The Rock.
No.
No, I
You
like
are
that
far
better.
from it.
Yeah. But the question that was posed was, who is Publius Enigma? Pause, I'm sorry. Also, that's the only time I've ever seen it referred to as who is Publius Enigma, not like what is the Publius Enigma, but whatever.
Or who is Publius?
Yeah. Who is Publius Enigma? What is the meaning of it all? And what is the treasure to be had?
Well, questions we'd all like to know the answer to. Here's my answer is Uncle Custard.
Quote.
Yes. As the infamous Q has emphasized, quote, you humans are so limited, unquote. This is a project for all those out there with higher IQs. It does require a mastery of diverse languages, along with a lot of spare time. Now get with it. The lights were brighter, the meaning is worn inside out, the bell has tolled, and the surrogate band is coming back to life. The answer lies non-linearly within the paradox of the theme of the division bell. Communication breakdown, hint, paren, hint, watch the Learning to Fly video, close paren. It may also involve an anomaly in the space-time continuum. There is an obvious solution, and you do not need to be a Pink Floyd historian to figure it out. Winners will receive official entry into the Mensa Society and some dry ice to cool down all those neural pathways in your brain. It is important to note that neither I nor anyone involved with this zine will enter into any correspondence on this topic. It's a puzzle for you, devised by the one who loves you enough to drive you mad. Besides, I'm much too busy creating crop circles and executing think tank projects for the Pentagon.
Unquote.
Thank you.
So obvious troll is obvious. In
Yeah,
my
no,
brain.
that's serious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's totally serious. right there.
100%. But I will say that there are some people who have taken this to an extraordinary level of research to further support their claim that they have solved the Publius Enigma. But as I said, in an effort to keep this episode under 4 hours, we are not going to dive deep into this rabbit hole because we could sit here and spend, as I said, probably 7 hours analyzing the lyrics to all of the different songs and diving deep into the artwork, which I know is Steve's favorite part of this whole thing. And
But we'd rather not sit here talking about this for 7 hours.
I would really rather not.
No,
I'm
me
sorry.
neither. Yeah.
But like I said,
I refuse to edit that.
I spent 7 hours total of my life watching this video series called Unraveling the Publius Enigma on YouTube. This series is produced by a guy named David Valentin, and if this mystery hooks you and you have a high tolerance for monotone voices and kind of crazy ideas, at the very least he does do a very interesting breakdown of the lyrics of the songs. There is an 1.5 hour long video, I think it's the second video, where he analyzes the artwork, and at the very end of an 1.5 hours of my life said, but this artwork has nothing to do with it, which
Bozo.
Anyway, but if that it was an interesting breakdown of the lyrics at the very least, of some of the songs. His theories are a little out there for me. We are going to talk about his theories in the theory section, but
goody.
I would recommend at the very least giving some of it a try. You can also obviously follow the links. We'll try to post links not to his YouTube videos, because I just told you about the YouTube videos. to
Well, if you
other-
do watch them, skip the artwork one because obviously he says it's bunk and it's different in every country.
Yeah.
So, woohoo!
you go.
Yeah,
Save
that's
yourself
true.
some
I mean, Steve sent me this thing because I think I had moved far through
Oh, yeah.
all of these
You were
and
much
forgot
farther
to
ahead of
say,
me.
Oh, all
forgot
the
to
various
say,
artwork for the Division Bell.
well, so I forgot to like tell you guys, the last we had said, I said, yeah, it's probably worth watching at least, some of this stuff. And that first one may or may not, it's kind of an interesting primer, but that second video is like, don't bother. But I had forgotten to tell you that. And Steve sent me this email that was like, here's